Hey guys, what's up? We're doing some Tkinter programming, and this is a complicated bastard, a little bit. So hopefully you guys can hang in there, and we can learn this junk, and hopefully be able to make some cool GUI-based applications. Anytime we're dealing with Tkinter, first things first, you always want to say from Tkinter, which it needs to be capitalized, but mine automatically pulls that, and just say import star, which means import everything, so everything's available. This quick video is about Tkinter, one particular widget, which is called the Toplevel, which is a widget. It's essentially, if I can just show you here, when we any of these Tkinter programs, we're going to say root, and then you're going to assign it Tkinter. You're instantiating the Tkinter method, I'm assuming, so root equals tk, open and close parenthesis. And then we want to set it on the infinite loop. So then we would just say root.main loop so that our program doesn't close as soon as it runs. And that's really all it is. I mean, when you say root equals tk, it's pulling up the Tkinter shell, like, that shell application. So when I run this, I have this program named Toplevel. And this is the Tkinter thing. It's the shell. It's it's whatever. That's what you see every time you run it. So that's all you got to do to actually pull up the GUI-based widget there, or application. So one of the widgets, though, that we can call upon within Tkinter is a top-level widget. And there's basically a couple different variations of your top-level widget. There's actually the top level, and then there's also a sub-level. Most of your applications, I guess basic ones, are probably just going to be one top level and no child or whatever. But then there's also the top level widget that is similar to the child or to the main shell, except that it doesn't actually display like the outer portions of the shell, like the minimize, the maximize button. So you can have applications that don't show that stuff, which is the transient top level. And then you have a top level that you can display, which is basically a different variation of it, so that you don't have the minimize and maximize buttons. I'm assuming in case you don't want somebody to be able to, expand the program and make it look all funky and everything if you haven't accounted for that type of thing. So if I could just run through and show you guys a quick example of what we're talking about. So first things first, like we've done in the last Hello World application, you're going to say label root, so you're including the parameter, the root that we just instantiated, so basically the Tkinter shell, and then we're just going to write text to the screen. We'll say this is the main top level. So and then you want to say dot pack, which is basically a geometric version of having Tkinter basically arrange like frames and things that we may have inside of our GUI application, and it adjusts and expands and things appropriately based on geometric positions, and that's kind of built in. So that's all there is to that. So in order to include this into our TK widget there, we need to say, let's just say top level, or top 1 equals top level, and then we'll say root, so it's including this shell. Okay, so when it does that, it should display this is a main top level underneath the shell, actually almost in its own shell. Basically, you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. So then let's create the child shell. So this one is going to include, instead of including root, it's going to include the one that we just made, the top level, basically. I guess, I don't know if you call it top level or top level or whatever, but this is the child level that we're working on right now. So it's including, instead of the shell meaning root, it's including top one. And then we'll say text equals, this is a child birthed by the top level. And then we'll say dot pack. And then we need to include this, and we'll say T2 equals top level. Actually, we'll name this top 2. We'll keep the same convention. top level, and then root. So this should be a sub of the top level. Let's go ahead and just run this real quick and see what we're doing here. So when we run this, you can see that we have all kinds of shit going on here. Alright, so we got, let me move this. Alright, there we go. Alright, so this was the main top level. And then this was the child that was birthed by this level. And you can see that here's the main shell. So we basically took the main shell and then we created a top layer on top of that main shell. And then we created actually, I'm sorry, this is the top layer. This is the top layer. And then we also included a bottom layer, which would be within this shell. So if I close this, I actually closed all of them. Alright, cool, whatever. So let's move on. I want to show you the transient one real quick. This is where it doesn't display any of the open and close. And it's real simple, so we can just say label, and we'll say top. This one will instantiate the child, so top 2, and then we'll say text equals. This is a transient window. We'll say dot pack, and then we'll say top 2 dot transient, and then say root. So we run this, and we didn't do something right here. 1 second. Alright, so actually this is correct. So this is what we want. I just had my verbiage messed up. The transient window is actually the window that does not display the expanding controls. So the window that displays no controls at all simply uses geometric positioning. Like you have to give it geometric coordinates, and we're not going to get into that right now. But for right now, I just wanted to show you that you have the basic top level, and then the child level, and then the transient level. And to look at the transient level, you see what I'm talking about. What the fuck? Alright, here it is. So there's no control, just simply closing your window here. So you have no minimize and maximize buttons. So those are the basic different top level things. In the next video, we need to get into the frames and how we can use those within the GUI application. Alright, thanks guys. Bye.